Well, okay, in the last installment, you guys got to see me struggle with taking the fore end off of this Glenfield 30, so I decided to spare everyone the pain of my rookie learning process and taking it apart the rest of the way. I watched a couple videos, looked at a couple drawings. It came apart real easy. And there's some dirt and grub in there, so I'm glad I took it apart to get it all cleaned up before I put that scope mount on there. Now it's just to clean it up and put it back together. And yeah, you know, I don't know if this, you guys will have to tell me that have these Glenfields or other Marlins, if that looks like a refinish. You can see the polish marks in it. It does still have matte finish on the top, and it's matte finish kind of on this bottom metal here. But I don't know, maybe it's maybe that's just how they look. Hard telling. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way it looks. It's just different, and I can see some polish marks in it. Maybe these, you know, department store, auto parts store Glenfields didn't have as good a polish as others. I don't know. But you can see the wheel marks in it. But it's in good shape. There's, you know, it just needs to be cleaned. I'm still fascinated with that dovetailed in bracket that holds the forearm on. It's really clever how that works. That other piece just kind of slips right over that and screws on. So, but now that this is apart, it's pretty plain to see. I've snapped on and off the mount a couple of times. If you just line this up to catch right here in this little recess in the receiver, if you just line that up and just pop this on there, get it lined up with the screws, you can see them through there, and just, you know, pop it on there, it goes right down tight. That's gonna fit on there real nice. And then it's a little bit cantilevered up there in the front once it gets past the dovetail from, they call that the dovetail jack or the jack screw. So it's rolled a little bit right now. You gotta get it in the right spot, but it pops right on there quite easily once you figure out how it's supposed to work. It lined up there, about right there, and yeah, it's closer. I'll have to just yeah, that's pretty close. You can see the screws in there, but once I get everything all lined up, I'm sure that's going to be just fine. It nestles right down in that little notch on either side real well. Looks pretty sharp on there. Then the question will be is if the forearm fits back on once that's done. That'll be the next interesting part. I'm just going to take the spring out of there for now. But the question will be is, will this all clear once it's on there? I think I just bumped the camera with my hat. Yeah, that looks like that's going to go back together fine. So there is enough clearance. This is going to come down just a little bit more. I can see just a little bit light under there, but there is plenty of space along the rail there and on this side as well. So that's going to go on there fine. So my worries in the beginning is unfounded. It's going to work well. That'll clamp right back on there the way it should. So yeah, this is going to be pretty neat, I think. So the next steps will be to just get that all cleaned up. I'm still contemplating shortening it. I don't know if I really want to or not. I'll go ahead and pop this back off. But if we look at this, the diameter, you know, I've had a stick down the bore to find exactly 16 1/8 from the bolt face. And when you get to right where it would want to be the 16, little over 16 to have some leeway, it's right in this area if I remember correctly. And the diameter here is just shy of what I would want for the typical 30 caliber 5/8 threads and to get a shoulder for it to tighten against. You don't want it to look like a pipe nipple with no shoulder. I think it's think it's about 5 thousandths shy on the major diameter of the thread pitch, or I shouldn't say thread pitch, the outside, the major diameter of the thread. So there's enough. Yeah, you're not going to get a real tight fit thread, but could go down to the 1/2 inch thread. And I do have a 1/2 inch direct thread adapter for my suppressor. That would work fine. But then when you start thinking about the minor diameter of a 1/2 inch thread versus the 308 bore, you start to not have a real thick wall thickness there, and it just started to creep me out a little bit about taking that much material off of it. I've read where others have done it on this, I shouldn't say on this exact barrel, on other Marlin barrels. I've read where guys have done it, where they've gone to the 1/2 inch threads on it. I thought about 9/16. I don't have a 9/16 adapter. I could call GSL here in town, and my suppressor was made right here in my hometown in Jackson, Michigan. I could call them and see if there's a possibility for a 9/16 adapter. That would be another option, then cut a 9/16 thread on it. But I don't have to make those decisions now. I can do that at another time. So it's an interesting thought, though, to think about shortening it and doing that. The other thing is to, unless I got pretty creative with the fixturing, we'd also have to drift out these pieces out of the dovetails to go through the spindle. So there'd be a lot of work to do that and do it in a way that I would feel okay with. So I think for now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up. It'll only take me a little while to get all this. You can see there's some gunk in there. What's weird is that mostly looks like just sawdust from the stock. It's not really coarse gritty. It's like sanding dust almost from the inside of the stock. And other thing, I was looking at the insides of these stocks they're not sealed up in any way. At some point in time, it might make sense to get some sort of sealant on there, whether it be a thin coat of a varnish or something of some sort to seal that up a little bit better. But again, that doesn't have to happen today. It could probably be done at the same point. I would like to at some point fix some of the the chipping of the finish here along the edges. I don't know if I can. I'm not sure what this finish is. It looks like it was a sprayed on finish of some sort that really is just sitting on the surface of the wood. It's really not. Didn't really penetrate much. So I don't know if something could be put on there and just rubbed to kind of dress that up, or if I'd have to be looking at a redo of it. But I think for now, I'm just going to get it cleaned up, get the scope mount on, get it all put back together and see what I think of it, and then decide from there. Now that I know how to take the forend off, obviously the buttstock comes off easy with just the one screw, so that's nice. This all looks in good shape. There's no cracks or anything, but again, I think this is one of those rifles that sat more than anything. I don't think that it's had, I haven't looked at it with the bore scope or anything, but I don't think it's had a lot of use. I mean, the muzzle looks real good. What I probably ought to do is consider running a patch down it and taking a look down the bore and seeing what I got. I don't know, you can't see down there, but anyway, we've got it all apart. We'll get it all cleaned up. I went ahead and took the gate off and whatnot. We'll get that all cleaned up. I'll clean up all the pieces of hardware and screws. See, there's some of this gritty stuff that looks more like wood dust than anything in there. We'll get that all cleaned up, but internally, I think it looks real good. We'll just a little bit of basic maintenance and get it taken care of. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's just got kind of, it's not really, yeah, see, it's more like wood dust than anything, not like gritty dirt. It's kind of interesting. But 84641, I'm sure that matches. Where was the serial number on this thing? 84641. Yep, that's the same. But yeah, I think it's gonna clean up nicely, go back together nicely. I don't see a lot of wear on any of the parts. I mean, just tiny bit of wear on the lever there, just a little bit. Oops. So, yep, we'll get to work getting it cleaned up, put back together. I'll probably check back in after I have the rifle cleaned and the pieces screwed back together. I think I might go ahead and put the mount on it while it's apart. I can fixture this, either pad it and clamp it in the vise or put it in the gun vise, and then I can have a good grasp on it when I put the new screws in and a little bit of Loctite in there and get everything all going. I'll get this all cleaned up real good beneath, make sure everything's clean and protected beneath it. Maybe put some wax on it beneath it just to make sure it's protected, and get that all put back together. But that's where I'm at on the Glenfield, and I'll check back in when there's more completed. Thanks for watching.